Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we are going to tell you the truth about Roman Reigns leaving WWE quotation marks.
A new SmackDown Women's Champion was crowned at WrestleMania Backlash.
Charlotte Flair was written off WWE at WrestleMania Backlash.
And who is the newest member of Judgment Day? I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Alright, we're going to kick things off by following up on the big Roman Reigns story that broke this weekend. Well, story. He got a promo on that house show in Trenton and said a lot of things about, hey, I'm going down a new path, I don't know when I'm going to be back here, I don't know if I'm going to be back here. Or did he say, yeah, all kinds of stuff. That led to talk, of course, and it was the talk of the internet yesterday, so if you missed this, congratulations on being less online than probably every other wrestling fan. I respect that immensely. I wish I could be less online, but I work on the internet. Yeah, so like it got loads of people talking about, is Roman Reigns leaving WWE? What's going on here? Is he taking a step back? What's he doing? Well, Fightful Select came through with a report just like later in the day after this promo came out.
Before we'd done the news that we did last night, but still, I didn't see it till after. It was a busy night. I haven't been to bed since WrestleMania Backlash.
Hey, listen, you were serving the morning video, weren't you? That's what we're going with.
There we go.
But yeah, so Fightful have spoken to a bunch of different people backstage in WWE about this. And we should stress that Roman hasn't actually commented on the promo yet.
Nope.
He's probably very happy to just have people talking about it and generating buzz and getting some rumors going. He's probably very happy doing that. That's what wrestlers do. So we should stress that this is speculative, right? But here we go. Fightful speaking to people backstage who have stated that Roman factors heavily into creative plans for the foreseeable future in WWE and is not expected to leave any time soon. Now, the prospect of him getting more movie roles in WWE is something that people have seen coming for a long time, particularly after his role in Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, I love
Tremendous
that
film. 5 out of 5, just ridiculous, brainless nonsense. My kind of stuff.
Made me audibly shout, "Spear!" in the...
He did, yeah. He did a Samoan drop as well.
Yeah,
sensational.
I can't remember one move I knew he already hit because I'd read about it. And the other one, I yelled it out in the cinema. And my wife
did you stand up and go, ooh?
I shouted with the once, no I didn't. Nowadays I would.
But continuing, producers, staff and higher-ups, Fightful's words, have said that they have not been informed of any extended time off for Roman at the moment as well. So another source spoke about how WWE will almost certainly accommodate and incentivize Roman to keep WWE as his top priority because obviously they've factored like 2 years of programming around the guy. So, you know, you have your biggest star, you try and keep them. Just simple formula. And WWE does not see an end in sight when it comes to Roman as well. There's some more details here. Somebody else in the company saying that when Roman was talking about, hey, I don't know if I'll be back here, all of this, I'm going down a new path, they believe that it probably just meant changing his schedule to involve fewer live events and fewer live shows. So yeah, like this is kind of what I expected coming out of the promo. Watching it, I think it's very fun to get kind of stuck into the cycle of, oh, he's leaving and all of this, and like it's fun to follow that, like and just get caught up in the drama of the whole thing. But realistically, this was probably always the likeliest outcome. I think him taking time away to shoot a movie and coming back and doing more things and yada yada yada. Of course, it should be pointed out as well that these days, I'm not sure if it's the case for all of them, but the majority of WWE wrestlers, there's not much of an incentive to work house shows these days because the downside guarantee structure, all of that has changed. So hey, preserve your body, brothers. Like, you know, if you can make a great living without beating yourself up 3 times a week, cool.
Yeah, I feel less bad about our news from last night now because it's kind of exactly what
you should
me
feel
and
good,
Hamlet
baby.
said.
The video did well.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what me and Hamlet said, though. You know, even if he is off to Hollywood, which I would not be surprised about. You know, John Cena said it to The Rock, and then Roman said it to John Cena, and then now it's going to be Roman heading off to Hollywood eventually. I mean, look at him. Of course, Hollywood are going to be interested in him, and he's been showcasing his acting chops, arguably, throughout this role as part of the Bloodline. But we didn't seem to, you know, we sort of joked in the immediacy of the video, the sort of hyperbolic nature of Roman Reigns leaving WWE. pump the brakes. Yeah. Yes, he is probably leaving WWE, just maybe not for the next. Yeah, I wouldn't rule out that he will. I would say he's probably not going to leave WWE until after WrestleMania 39, for example. Like you say, he may alter his schedule. Maybe he'll miss TVs for a bit. Maybe he'll almost certainly miss more house shows. That, I think, is kind of what he was implying there. But yeah, he ain't gonna disappear because WWE are gonna be like, no, we've got a long-term story to do here. Maybe you're gonna face The Rock at WrestleMania 39, whatever may happen. But yeah, it's one of those where you sense WWE probably knew that this is the long-term what's gonna happen. But yeah, it's just people getting very excited from a promo that's, well, not even a promo, I should say, just a nice speech to people in New Jersey.
Yeah, kind of deal. I think it's healthy for wrestlers to take these breaks as well because it prevents oversaturation. Go away for 3 months. Like if you're coming to the end of a natural arc, it's good. It's healthy to take time off, not just to heal up and all of that, but to keep you over and to make people miss you and all of that. So what we're definitely saying is that in 3 months there's going to be an all-elite graphic with Roman Reigns on it, or Joe Anuahi or whatever he's going to be called over there.
Right, let's talk a little bit about fallout from WrestleMania Backlash. A surprisingly entertaining show, which is an incredibly backhanded compliment, but going into it,
it was surprisingly not crap.
Yeah, me and Hamlet thought, what, 4 rematches, 2 new matches, one of which was just, you know, a TV affair, effectively. I really quite enjoyed it. And
the opener was awesome.
It was under 3 hours, so that's always good. But we have a new SmackDown Women's Champion. Ronda Rousey defeated Charlotte Flair in the I Quit match. If you haven't watched it, I genuinely encourage you to go and see it. I think it's arguably match of the night. It's either that or the Rollins-Rhodes rematch.
I think it does.
I just enjoyed it more, I think.
It was
because
good.
Rollins-Rhodes was really enjoyable, and the mentality and the psychology and the counters and blah, blah, blah. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair just beat the crap out of each other. It was just kendo sticks getting broken, brawls up into the crowd, arm bars in the ropes. Oh, my sweet Jesus. And then eventually, yes, Ronda Rousey, after she'd been taunted by Charlotte Flair, who said, like, Happy Mother's Day, oh, don't mention her kids. Ronda Rousey sort of pulled her arm through a chair that Charlotte Flair had been brought in, was bending it over there, and asked her if she wanted to quit. She said no, and I think Ronda said something along the lines of, I was hoping you'd say that, bitch! And then she just contorted her arm into all horrible positions. Andy's going to give you a report on the circumstances that followed following that, but we got the submission, we got the I Quit from Charlotte Flair. Ronda Rousey is your new champion. Good stuff. Excited to see where they go next with her.
Yeah, it's times it's been kind of rough seas with this comeback, hasn't it? Like, especially early on. And there's been times in this program as well where I've been a bit like, oh, what are we doing here?
Give her a mouthpiece.
Yes, yeah, that would be helpful, I think. Yeah,
you could Malcolm.
yeah. If only we had an option. Wow. But yeah, like...
Yeah, we got an option, baby.
What?
LA Knight, yeah.
It's the worst fit of all time. I love it. What's Robert Stone up to at the moment?
Bobby, isn't with the
Mr.
Then they got
Stone.
Face and Von Wagner. Oh no, Face is with you. LA Knight.
Face is with LA Knight, and they've got Mansoor as well, haven't they? LA Knight Model Management. Let's go. But yes, it was a good match. This was the likeliest outcome, and the finish is good because it makes Ronda Rousey look tougher and harder and more ruthless, and that's a good thing indeed.
What happened to Charlotte's arm, though?
What did happen to Charlotte's arm? Well, after the match, WWE put out this video with Kayla Braxton reporting that...
Live from the X-ray room, apparently.
Yeah, I'm just in the hospital, hello. Kayla Braxton on this episode of ER, stating that Charlotte had suffered, and I quote, a fractured radius, which is a part of a circle, but okay, following her brutal I Quit match with Rousey.
A fractured circumference?
Yeah, she's really messed up her diameter. But yeah, there we go. So that went out. And when WWE put out things like this, you automatically think, bing, 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 it's a work, and it is. So Charlotte Flair isn't actually injured here. This was just done to write her off television for a little while.
Good.
Fightful, and I think most people would have guessed this, right?
Yeah.
But Fightful Select came through with the report afterwards stating that it's to give Charlotte some time off. There's no indication of how long she will be out for, or whether or not this will begin immediately or if she'll be back on. Why would she be back on if she's injured? I don't know, but there you go. But yeah, she's gonna have some time off. She's been a constant on TV for a long time, like we've just said, so we don't really need to say it again, but I'm gonna say it again because why not? It's good to have time off every now and then. It keeps you fresh. Agreed. I think if she disappears for a little while, let some other people ascend in her absence and then comes back, that's healthy for everyone. So there you go.
And following on from another match at WrestleMania Backlash, Edge versus AJ Styles, we have a new member of the Judgment Day community, and that would be Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley.
Who was the mysterious hooded figure that cost AJ Styles once again in his match with Edge. We had Damian Priest banned from ringside, but he still walked out on the ramp. No, I've not crossed this line, we're fine. Him and Finn Balor brawled through the ring, but of course he wasn't involved physically in the match, so Jessica, I think it was Jessica Carr?
I think so.
I think so. Whoever the referee was, let it go, but this distracted her, and Edge was recovering in the ring, turned around, AJ Styles is about to come off the top, a hooded figure pushes him off, Edge eventually got a technical submission victory. AJ Styles passed out in a crossface, and it was revealed that with her new black hair, Rhea Ripley is the latest addition to Judgment Day. I think it's a perfect bit of booking, this.
Yeah, we've been looking for something a little bit new for Rhea Ripley for a while, I think. It's fair to say. It started with a heel turn on Liv Morgan, of course, and now she's in the Edge stable. So I do... Here comes the cynicism. Hey, you've been waiting for this. It's taken about 10 minutes to get to it. But I don't like this stable, personally. If you do, fair enough. We can like different things. It's totally fine. We don't need to argue about everything on the internet. It's not for me. It's a bit overly dramatic for my taste. But it does mean that Rhea's going to be on TV a lot, and that's good because she's very talented.
And heel Rhea's the best version.
I agree. So there you go.
Well, who was it she mocked? Was it Tegan?
Tegan Knox, when she dressed up as her for Halloween. So good.
She's really good at this, to be perfectly honest. Look, I'm excited for the new direction for Rhea. Like you say, I'm not a huge fan of all you people. You don't deserve this, and mountains of omnipotence and all that bollocks. But I think that look at the names in this stable. If you chuck in a Ciampa as well, it's a mouth-watering prospect. The writing is, yes, a completely separate issue. Yeah, but I like the idea as well of AJ now being like, oh, well, I did have Finn Balor to take on you and Priest. Now I need probably Liv Morgan, perhaps even, just off the top of my head. Liv Morgan and Mustafa Ali, and that'd be a sick 4-on-4 match. Yeah. It'd be really good. But yeah, like you say, let's just calm it down. I see a sketch.
Yeah, dressed up as a newsreader and stuff. Quality.
Imagine getting one of your stars of your show to just put a silly wig on and pretend like he's someone else. Who'd do that, eh? Anyway, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture.
You want to see what?
At WhatCulture.
You want to see me with my wig on? Here it is. It's have a giraffe.
At WhatCulture WWE, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from John Cortez, who says, morning, legends. Oh, it's a dog. John says, morning, legends. When do you think is a good time to pull the trigger on Cody versus Roman? Will they hold off just to protect Roman until the rumored match with The Rock?
Yeah, I think it seems to be that they're gonna get some mileage out of this Drew situation after going by the main event last night. All the stuff with Roman trying to avoid getting in the match with him and then being like, oh god, I'm gonna fight this guy now, and all of that. It seems to me like we're gonna get a few, at least one premium live event arc out of Drew, so that would indicate it's going to be a while away. Then you've got the Roman versus Rock match on the horizon. Yeah, I think that would be too long for me personally, but not because I think that they should like fast forward to Roman or Rock or anything. I just feel like you should probably strike while the iron is hot with Cody. I reckon they're probably going to do it before Rock versus Roman, but maybe only for one title. I
agree. I think that's the direction they might go in of, I want the WWE Championship, and then Roman, after he loses it, can be like, well, it doesn't really matter because I've held the Universal Championship for 900 days or whatever it will be at that point. I think they're doing Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam. I think Cody is not going to lose. If you've got any... Oh, I almost swore then. If you've got any flipping sense, you don't have him lose. Yes, he used shenanigans against Rollins. And I kind of want to see that match one more time at Hell in a Cell.
It kind of fit the story though, didn't it? Because like the opening parts of the match were like, Rollins is coward, he's a step ahead, and then in the end it was like, oh, I'm gonna just do the thing you did because I'm actually a step ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get the point about like the face using a handful of tights. It's like, well, it kind of fit in this situation.
I'll happily see them run it back one more time though at Hell in a Cell, maybe with some steps on it, and I just keep Cody ticking over, and then after he wins the title, he could face, let's just say, Edge, because that's another dream match I'd like to see, for example. I do hope that they pull the trigger soon, though, because Cody's the... we talked about this yesterday when we were talking about Roman leaving. They were like, oh, people saying, oh, they haven't got any stars left. Well, they have. They've got Sasha Banks. They got Becky Lynch. They got Brock Lesnar still knocking about. And one of the biggest ones they've got, and even they don't want to admit it because he's made it over there, is Cody Rhodes. So put the world title on it.
I think it's a valid debate, that one, for sure.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of names that people were throwing up, like AJ Styles and stuff. And it's like, okay, AJ's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but he's not been presented as a star on Roman's level at any point in his WWE career. He's been presented as a star, of course. He was champion for ages. But yeah, interesting conversation to be had there.
Biggest star they've got is unfortunately currently injured.
No, they
in
released
a neck brace. Get well soon, eh?
Yeah.
Love that guy.
That situation's really just bad.
Yeah. Let's move on to Mark Solid's question, who says, morning, gents. What is one wrestler, past or present, you could watch every day and never get bored? Mark's is Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, good answer. Bret Hart and Bryan Danielson, I think. Just like, not even necessarily because they're technical and all this stuff, but because they always, both of them, when Bret was active, and Danielson these days as well. There's other examples of guys who do this as well, but they just make the most out of every single situation and try and craft something unique and memorable and never mail it in and never... They don't have, they obviously have formulaic parts of their matches that they'll use to apply. Every wrestler does, but they're not just copying and pasting layouts and going, I'm gonna go in second gear tonight. People like that who work hard and try and put something new in everything they do.
I will say, Bret Hart. I think ever since I started working here at WhatCulture, my eyes were opened a lot more to Bret Hart. He was kind of before my time, and he had this legacy, and I thought, I don't really see it. And then I actually sat down and watched some of the matches, and particularly like the Tom McGee one, and you were like, oh, wait a second. I've subsequently gone back and watched more of his back catalogue, and he's a genius. I'd put alongside him Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Obviously, you would.
But, that's just me.
Biased hack.
Yes.
He's paying you off.
Fair assessment.
How much does he pay you more than Wardlow?
He doesn't have, you have to pay your friends.
Oh.
Afuro tweets gives us our final question of the day. Afuro writes, who should be the first trios champs and why is it Blackpool Combat Club? They've been so awesome and they should definitely face House of Black to decide the first champs.
Well, that's interesting. My answer was going to be the House of Black.
Yeah.
I think...
a hell of a first title fight that'd be.
Yeah, it'd be tremendous. I think it's probably going to be either Red Dragon and Adam Cole or Kenny and the Bucks, because it seems to me like they're waiting for Kenny to come back before they bring the titles in, and I think that's quite telling. But for me, I would put it on the House of Black. We got to do a spooky voice when we talk about the House of Black, because the matches are absolutely awesome, and I think it would be a good way to kind of get away from this Julia Hart storyline that I don't think a lot of people are into, because it's taken place over the space of 6 months.
6 months, and they've not got any closer to it.
Yeah, man, it's nuts how they've strung that along and just forgotten about it for months on end, and then suddenly Brian Pillman Jr. is angry. It's a weird story. But yeah, I'd go with that. But Blackpool Combat Club's a really good answer.
Yeah, I was going to say Blackpool Combat Club for me, to be perfectly honest. I think it's been a brilliant development of Regal coming in and just slapping everyone, and I hope they slap the titles on them. But I'm just excited for trios titles, man. They've been teased and we'd speculated on for so long. To hear, when was it, Friday we found out that they've definitely been made, or there's a thing. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens next with it. Anyway, let's move on to today's, and finally, once again, apologies in advance to our editor, Adam Nicholas, for this one.
What are you doing?
Because did you see the big major return that we're not talking about from WrestleMania Backlash?
The flat.
Close. On the front row, as pointed out by Pat McAfee, trending on social media as a result. I'm sure he got a massive bollocking for that. It was the return of the fucking Fiend.
It's the Fiend. He's
the
back.
Fiend's back.
I can't
and
believe
he's lost a lot of height by the looks of it.
Yes, he has. Fair play. Hey, that's a really good That is a really good, what do we call them these days? Cosplay.
Yes.
Really good stuff.
It was so funny because me and Hamflet on the stream spotted the flipping Fiend.
The flipping Fiend.
As they pan the audience, we're like, there was the Fiend, there was the Fiend. Then they did the hard cam shot on your man in the green t-shirt, and then about 10 seats along, there's the Fiend. And we're like, oh cool. There was also a guy in a Hook t-shirt that was front and set. Like, I think Corbin was beating someone up, and the bloke was just stood there with a Hook t-shirt. And I was like, no one's going to mention that then.
Nope, that's not good.
And and the Fiend was there, and Pat McAfee mentioned it, and all I can imagine is Vince just exploding at Gorilla as a result of that.
Windham.
But is this a first breadcrumb of a return of the flipping Fiend?
And listen, if we get to tonight's episode of Raw and the camera pans up and they are occupying an entire section of seats because he's so damn wide, is the flat if we get the fucking Fiend in the flat
I'm so sorry, Nicholas. I've opened
the
the
same night, God bless.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comments
Let us
section
know what
below.
you think about the Fiend.
Indeed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Our review of WrestleMania Backlash is already out, and Andy and Sidge are going to be chatting about Rampage
and the tuna.
And looking ahead to Monday Night Raw as well. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. Follow Andy Murray at.
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Oh, Barnatoon and Medical.
Andy and a tuna. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
It's not even Friday, man.